bonus episode. Whoa.
This one
bonus
isn't bonus.
episode.
The bonus one will be on Thursday.
Yeah, which is when this episode will come out.
Oh, yeah.
So this episode comes out Thursday this week. Shit.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the bonus one. That's what happens.
Look at that great start.
When I fuck up, that's when you guys get a bonus episode. So I guess I should maybe fuck up a bit more.
The audio wasn't that bad. That's why we're doing a bonus episode, because last week Aiden's audio recorded through his computer, which, by the way, we're lucky it even recorded through that. So it could be worse. We could have had the whole episode fucking scrapped. But it wasn't that bad. I'm sure people can put up with it for 1 week. I'm sure it'll be okay. Everyone will live. Yeah. The world still spins.
Still spins. Still, Venice is still intact. Didn't get flooded by the fish people.
For now.
Talking about vampires in Venice today.
Yes.
So that's fun.
Yeah, good little fun ep. Toby, was it Toby? All right. I always say Toby Whitehouse. I hear it's Toby Whithouse. So get ready for a bit of the... I'm going to probably change between both of those last names, the way I say them. But
I think it's Whithouse.
Is it his first episode for Doctor Who?
No, he wrote School Reunion.
That's it. School Reunion. Yeah. But he hasn't done one since, has he?
I'll have a look, see if he's got anything else under his belt. No, School Reunion, Vampires in Venice, The God Complex, which is what he was going to write this season, actually.
A Town Called Mercy.
A Town Called Mercy, Under the Lake Before the Flood, and The Lie of the Land.
Wow, he does quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, and also Greeks Bearing Gifts from Torchwood. I like that episode a lot, actually. Yeah, there you go.
Always a big fan of him. I always thought he'd take over as showrunner, as we said before. I would have liked him to do it as well, but such is life. Life moves on.
Such is life. I got to see Connor's lovely face in person on the weekend, which is a rare... Well, not so rare recently, but in terms of doing something not related to the show...
it was really nice.
Cool.
It was really, really nice. Aiden left me at 11 o'clock, so that's fine. I was leaving anyway. I was going
I had other plans.
Yeah, Aiden's like, see you, bitch. I'm like, well, joke's on you, because I am leaving too. And it's because I had plans as well. Nah, to be fair, it was like 11 o'clock. Okay. So I felt really bad, because we went to a party, and then everyone kind of just left at once. And the guy came out, and he was like, are you guys staying? I was like, nah, actually, I was planning on leaving at 11 o'clock too. So we were the last to arrive and last to leave. So that's me at every party. I'm always the last to arrive and last to leave. But it was good to see you. I did a little bit on the Instagram story. I answered some of your questions and stuff. It was mostly about dating Aiden. I guess that's like a weird fetish people have got with us. So that's something great. It was mostly just asking if we were dating.
I want to see some fan art. Of me and Connor doing some whack shit. All right. So if anyone's capable, I want to see me bending Connor over a TARDIS or
why am I
TARDIS
getting
console.
bent over?
Or someone needs to they need to draw the Amy Doctor scene from the last episode. Oh my! But it's me and Connor. That's what we're gonna do.
What the hell? This is so cool. This is so weird. Oh my god!
What a start to an episode.
We do support gay rights, trans rights on this show. It's just something lovely about hearing me and Aiden doing the whole Amy and Doctor scene that's making my skin crawl.
It is lovely.
Bit, but
it's nice to think about.
Isn't it LGBTQ plus? We are huge supporters of that over here at the 50% Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah,
baby,
good stuff.
All welcome.
So, like I said, Vampires of Venice. But before we do that, speaking of fish, I just want to take a brief moment to discuss what I just watched on Netflix. Which a lot of people. It's a documentary. So it's a documentary called Seaspiracy. Gasp! A lot of people have seen it recently because it came out recently. But if you haven't seen it, I think it's really important. It's another one of those things that is just like really eye-opening. It's kind of like Blackfish, but even more confronting in a way. Like it's about something. I mean, it's about fish. So I guess it's kind of about a similar subject, but it is kind of about a completely different thing in a way. It's about like fishery and stuff like that. Very confronting, and I think everyone should watch it. Not only if you're into documentaries, but just it's important. And I definitely, I'm not sure how much I will be eating fish again. And I'm, if I do, it will be rare, and I'll be looking heavily into where it comes from and stuff. So it's...
Yeah, my mum told me to watch it, because my mum's vegetarian, so she's really
didn't
into
know
that. Yeah, well, she's not... I know vegetarian's kind of like a meme, like they kind of like, shove it down your throat. My mum's never been like that, but yeah, she's been a vegetarian since 2017. So
cool.
Mostly it's a few things. It's like animal rights, and it's also a health standpoint. But yeah, she's not. It is actually anything, so
really good to cut meat out. Like obviously you have to make sure you are eating the same stuff to like supplement that. But it is actually like the best thing that you can do really for yourself is cut meat out. It's actually
all she's really got to do is have a few like vitamins and stuff, and then she's fine. Like iron and stuff. But sorry, I feel like I interrupted you then. The internet was a bit slow.
No, you're good. That's what happens when we're not in person anymore.
Oh yeah, we're not in person. I think we're just a bit tired. We were gonna do it, and then it's like, I could do it, but then I'm like, I could finish and then just go upstairs and eat my dinner. So, not that I don't want to see you, but and it's also go on.
I was gonna say I have like a 14-hour day tomorrow, and then a really long day on Wednesday as well. I don't even know how long that's gonna be. So I was looking forward to just chilling out.
Just chilling and see what happens. Yeah, it's a sober show, as I was gonna say as well.
That's rare these days. Very rare. From me, at least.
I feel like through the specials and like from like pretty much from like Turn Left onwards, I think apart from like Day of the Doctor or something, I was just thinking beers every episode. So I'm on the...
When the fuck did we do Day of the Doctor? What are you talking about, champ?
Sorry, the next Doctor. Sorry, it's just Monday tings. Wow.
It's got a case of the Mondays. Just to wrap that up, watch Seaspiracy. It's really fucking great. You won't regret it. It's by a young filmmaker. I think he's about our age. I think he was 22 when he started making the documentary, I think. And you can tell it's very much like him and his girlfriend or partner, they like shot it themselves. The main guy, he directed it. Was the girlfriend like assistant directed it, and then they edited it together. And he colored it himself. Like it's very much him. It's like I feel like if I was to start making a documentary, which I kind of want to, because I loved it when I made my last one. It's like I feel like it's a similar vibe as to what I'd be able to accomplish. So vibe check.
Just vibe.
Watch Seaspiracy.
Is it like 1 2-hour documentary, or is it like parts?
It's just one. It's an hour and a half. Yeah, 90 minutes on the dot. I think.
Do you know what I hate? I hate these like Netflix started this trend where like you want to watch a documentary and it's like 7 1-hour parts, and I'm like, for Christ's sake, just do it in like 2 hours. Why? It has to have like a bloody cliffhanger. And Netflix like started this. It's like you could tell the whole story in like an hour and a half or 2 hours, but no, you have to make it like an hour. You have to try and make it like a TV show. I'm not here for that shit. I always end up starting them and then just like losing interest. Because it's like they always purposely leave like a big piece of information till the end, and it's like I ain't got time to watch 7 1-hour parts. 7 if you're lucky. That whole like Maddie McCann one was like 10 parts, I think. It was like Christ.
I didn't get through that one. I don't know. I don't think it was 10 parts, but
it was pretty close. Yeah,
quite a lot. Yeah, I only watched the first one of that. I think. Only thing that I think
just not about that
kept me maintained mostly was Tiger King, even though it was just kind of like silly, and I never watched that. I don't think it was a
I never watched that. I was like one of the
it's definitely far from a perfect documentary. As a Seaspiracy, I could there's a lot of things that just from a production standpoint I see wrong, but just the message it gets across and the footage it shows is why it's so powerful. But Tiger King, just like the characters in it are just so charismatic. It's funny.
Yeah, there were 8 episodes, but yeah, on that Matter of Accounting. But yeah.
Bang, bang. My point. Connor's here. Connor's fact-checking. That's what happens when you've got two cyber boys on the show. Shall we get into some Doctor Who then, seeing as we talk about everything else already?
Let's go. Skill McGill. 50% podcast.
Like I said, today we're talking about the Vampires of Venice, which is written by Toby Whithouse and directed by Johnny Campbell, which I think is a new director, I think. It's the sixth episode of the fifth series of the British science fiction television series Doctor Who, which was broadcast on the 8th of May 2010 on BBC One.
Bruh.
Following the end of Flesh and Stone, where the companion to Amy Pond, Karen Gillan, had kissed him, the alien time traveller, the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, picks up Amy's fiancé, Rory, Arthur Darvill, and takes the two on a romantic trip to Venice in 1580. There, they are intrigued by a girls' school whose students appear to be vampires and discover that they are really alien refugees in disguise who plot to make Venice their new home. Ah!
No.
Never.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Peter Pan. Sorry, it's a line from a play called Peter Pan that I was in a while ago.
That takes me back.
Pain. Peter Pan. Yeah. Peter Pan. God, my line execution in that play.
It was good.
Fucking
it was
horrendous. It's really bad. Like, you watch it now and I'm like, Peter Pan. Peter Pan.
Yeah, but
what do you say about Peter Pan?
Yeah, but like, you were young. Like, did you really expect it to be fucking amazing? Like,
yes.
Look, I look back on the shit and I cringe, but there's nothing I can do about it. Just quite a cringy person, I think. You want to get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. Sorry, I was tweaking my microphone. When I was saying all that, I could just hear it all peaking. So
that's fine.
Hopefully we're fine now. Yeah, Connor, take it away. Cool. Let's talk about Peter Pan.
Anything I got here as well, I got character names up on my laptop so I can not be like old mate like I always do. Like, old mate over here. But then...
Old mate. Actually, before you get into it, let's just do a little respect, a little RIP for the late Helen McCrory.
Oh, of course, yeah. I know, how sad is that? And that happened like 2 weeks ago. Like, the thing about the episodes we're reviewing now, I think we're like a week behind. But now we're done 2 a week this week. I think we'll be like, by the time we review them, it's normally the 11-year anniversary. Because we're 11-year anniversary like behind by like 1 week. So now we're doing 2. I think I think this week is the 11-year anniversary of Amy's Choice. So. But yeah, no, regardless, that is very, very sad. And yeah, she is in this episode. And I think she does a very good job, to be fair.
She does, yeah. Good scene with her and the Doctor later on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. That is really good. Yeah, of course, very, very sad. I was going to mention that later, so thanks for reminding me. I do appreciate that.
That's how it feels when you were reading all my behind-the-scenes facts last week.
I wasn't even trying to be rude then. I love how so I just said that I'm going to bring up character names, and then I go to read one of the character names and I can't say it, so that's very handy. Is it Guido? Guido? We will say Guido. Guido. Anyway, alright. So we start with Guido and Rosanna heading into the Great Cathedral to send her off to what they think is a school, and basically they're just doing it so he can give his daughter a great future, and they accept, and it's like, say goodbye to your daughter now, you're not going to be seeing her again, but because he wants her to have a great education and a better life, he agrees to do it. And as he's getting this sent out, we get to see a bit of a vampire boy and a scream, and a great transition to Rory Stagg. So I love how you hear Rosanna scream, and it goes like from a woman's scream to Rory going "Hello" as he's on the phone. Awesome transition. I remember being sent watching this younger and being like, "Wow, like we're seeing a stag night. Doctor Who is getting hell edgy. They're showing
on
women.
Beer. Wow,
yeah, on the beer." There's a lot of horny men who want to see a woman jump out of a cake. Bit of a strippy. Great scene, obviously, when the Doctor comes out of the cake. I found that hilarious in the day, and I still do now. I think it's just really funny. It's something.
I think I find it funnier now than I did back in the day.
Oh god, it's so good. It really is. It's so funny, and I love how I think this scene is perfect, showing how alien the Doctor is when he says. He's just spitting mad shit. He's like, get outside in bikini. Very lovely. Diabetic. I was like, I love how he mentions she's diabetic. And it's like, Rory, we need to talk about your fiancée. She tried to kiss me. And I like the room just goes brah. It's like a huge abrupt moment. It annoys me that they spoiled this scene in the trailer. I feel like it would have been a really cool scene just to watch live. A bit of a bombshell. But and I do love how the doctor's like, when you and I think we've all been there. It's like he's like, when you hear something in your head and it sounds fine, and then the opening credits comes on.
That's me every time I make a joke. Yeah. When you think of something in your head and it sounds really funny, and then you say it and you're like, oh, well, no one understood that. That didn't land.
Yeah, I'm very much a say first, think second person, which can be to my detriment quite a lot of the time. So
Connor's just a dick, really.
Quite possibly.
2 points about this pre-title sequence. First thing, when we're in Venice at the start, immediately it's like it looks great. Like the location, the fact that they went abroad to shoot it, amazing. Looks so tasty. You can always tell when Doctor Who does it, and I don't think Doctor Who has particularly shit sets anymore, but at least by this point in the show. But like you can always just tell when it is like a real authentic set. My other point is, do you feel like Rory's stag do? It was meant to look like it was at nighttime, but doesn't it? Because it looks weirdly grey and dull, don't you think? Do you think maybe they like shot it in daytime and it was like meant to be nighttime or something?
I'll be honest, I actually didn't notice that, but I have noticed before in Doctor Who them doing that. Maybe they could only get the pub in the daytime,
It might have just been the way they color graded it, and there wasn't any intention on making it look like nighttime. But it just looks like weirdly dull to me, to a point where they were like, "Oh, this is meant to be at nighttime, but we accidentally shot it in daytime." Not that could even happen, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Some stags happen in the day, Aiden. It can happen.
No, they do. They do. It just looked funny. It just looked weird.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyways, title sequence. Yeah. It's growing on me every week.
Okay. I'm still not a fan, but we'll get there. As Aiden was saying, I'm waiting for that 7B.
Yeah, boy.
Every week we hear about it. God bless. So
did I ever tell you that 7B is my favorite title sequence?
Yes, several times. Every week.
Fuck. Damn.
Okay, so we're in the TARDIS with Amy and Rory, and the Doctor's like, "Yo, listen, bit of a wedding present. You can go off and go wherever you like." Amy's like, "What, like a date?" He's like, "Exactly." He's trying to save their shattered marriage, Aiden, because Amy. And by the way, I don't like the way her character's written like this, so we've got to face the facts. Amy has full-on treated Rory like crap and just full-on cheated on him, kissing the Doctor.
Yeah.
Which I think is just like, it's such a... I don't know, it's like, does that really have to be the storyline? They couldn't have just gone on a date. He couldn't have just been like, "Oh, okay, it's my wedding present." They could be having like issues and stuff, like she did... The whole thing could have just been like, she ran off with the Doctor the night before their wedding. That would have been enough to cause a bit of friction. I don't know why she has to go and cheat on him. It's just a bit odd. I don't know.
It sucks. And it sucks like the whole way through the episode, she's kind of being a bit like promiscuous in a way, like between them. I don't know. It's...
Yeah, there is, to be fair, there is that line later on by Egudio, I think I'm saying that correctly, where he's like, "Actually, I thought he was your fiancé."
Yeah.
It's like, that's not helping. That was really funny. Apart from that, whenever it gets brought up, there's like a penis joke later on, which was kind of funny. There's something about Moffat's hero, it's just like dick jokes and strippers and
horny.
It is horny, man. I hope Moffat's probably just not getting it at home and just had to like write about it.
Legit.
But they land in Venice, Venezia
once again. It looks great. Connor, you're so racist. Mia. You're so racist. You're doing an Italian impression. You're racist.
Impression? It was that solid and correct and on point.
Facts.
They land and it's like, look, they get stopped by someone. Oh yeah, before that though, Casanova, who David Tennant played in a Russell T Davies series, which is how Russell found David. He played Casanova.
Hold on a minute.
Chicken.
When I was doing my quote-unquote research for this, I read that. Have you been looking ahead at some research, Connor? If you have, naughty boy, you haven't?
I never do,
okay.
So...
Okay, I was just a bit scared there. Because apparently Helen McCrory is also involved. She's also been in like the movie of Casanova or something like that.
I see. So it could have been a bit of a on the nose joke for
a little who knows kind of joke, you know.
He owes him a chicken. You see all those cringy Tumblr posts where it's like, "Do you get it?" And it's like, "Yes, I don't need you reminding me." They get stopped by someone who says that bodies are being Sorry, my phone's going off. Bodies are being like piled on the streets. It's like the he said, she said by this council who is obviously led by. Oh no, I've been saying names wrong. I'm never going to look at this again. Alright, so I've been saying
For
Rosanna
God's sake,
instead
Connor.
of Isabella.
One job.
Isabella is a daughter, sorry. I know, I bring up names and it just fucks up. Any shiz. I'm so sorry. Yeah, basically it's like all that council are saying like shit, like, you know, the bodies are like in the streets. This is before phones, folks, so, you know, word of mouth gets around. And then they walk around and they get to see, it's like they kind of like split up. Amy and Rory go and walk off, and Dot goes check out this place. We get to see Agudio going to try and get his daughter out, and then Matt goes up to him and goes like, "Yeah, what's going on?" It's like something happens in that place. It's evil. My daughter didn't even recognize me. I thought that was cool, and it does kind of like set up the fact that they're going to be vampires, despite the fact there's no suspense. It's called Vampires in Venice, but I do like how they have their like hoods up and stuff, and you can tell they don't want to be in the sun. And then old mate, who it's a bit alright, it's a bit strange. So it's like her son kind of like lays down with her, and it's like it's
That's
a bit
weird,
odd,
isn't it?
It's a bit odd.
That was odd.
Like,
he's
like,
just
Mummy,
an odd character the whole way through.
It's like Mummy. It's like really weird. It's like calling them like Mummy and stuff, and I was like, it's a bit weird, isn't it? It's like a bit odd. And I was like, okay, like, you know, it gave me weird feelings. I got weird feelings down my spine, but I was like, look, I'm gonna go out and investigate.
That sounds a bit saucy.
Nah, shivers down my spine ain't good, mate.
Sorry, just you being like, it gave me weird feelings.
Weird things is like, I felt icky. I felt like I needed to take a shower afterwards. There's something a bit odd about a grown man laying with his mum and saying "mummy."
So you weren't into it?
No, not really. Can't say I was.
That's what I thought you meant, which would have been more exciting.
How did I imply I liked it? At least you said I hated it.
You were like, it gave me weird feelings.
Yeah, weird, icky feelings. Like,
I became conflicted about my own sexuality.
Anyway,
back to the show.
Such a cunt. This scene made me laugh so much. Well, look, okay, Amy and Rory just like, you know, they're having their like little bit of a chat. It's like, you know, Amy, we're going to talk about this, and then I love how Amy's like, "Oh, do we have to talk about this now?" And it's like, he has every right to say, "Can we talk about this?" Because you just treated him awfully. And then the old mate gets offered a flower. The son gets offered a flower, and then you just hear like a stock standard, like probably Final Cut Pro scream, and it stops Amy in their tracks when Amy's taking a photo and she's doing the duck face. My
god,
which is that's
so dated.
Oh, the duck face! I remember that shit back in the day. Like, that's some 2010 shit. And they run over to see old mate having his fangs going. And it's like, oh my god. And then it's a beautiful shot though. I mean, you're right, you can tell it is in Venice and stuff. Venezia. And the Doctor and Amy run to each other. It's like, oh my god, there's vampires in Venice. I do like already how you can see Amy's character is like getting really used and excited to that whole world of like aliens and near-death experiences and just all that shit. I think that's great.
It is cool. It's exciting. I love it.
And then they're like, look, I think I know how to get in because old mate can help us. Basically, they go to the house and they have this plan where they're going to send Rory in as Amy's brother. And we had that funny scene where Gudio is like, actually, I thought you were her fiance. I thought that's not helping. And Rory's getting all upset because he's saying stuff like, you know, why couldn't I be like the fiance and stuff? The way they get in though is like the whole like they go on like the little sailing. They're on the little boat, And I love how they switch shirts. So Rory's wearing
Guido is such a fucking funny character. Just he gets so many funny lines, and then when he's wearing like Rory's shirt and it's like super tight on him, and it's just
I love that.
There's no line. It's just a shot of him just rowing, and it just speaks for itself. It's great.
Anyway, show don't tell. I always say is brilliant. Such a funny. I thought that was hilarious. Like I really did love it. And then Rory's wearing his clothes. And then they send Amy off. It's going to be fine, and it like kind of mirrors. It mirrors a shot from the beginning with Isabella and Guido, where like they walk out the door and then you can see the vampire behind them. And then Amy goes off into the castle and does find Isabella, but she's kind of like sent. It's like they take you to a room at night, which we later get to see. And then the Doctor and Rory, they go under the castle, and they're going to try and break in. And they have again that little brief scene where it's like, it's probably the thing I like the most. If we have to pick, I didn't like when they really spoke about the whole thing with the whole Amy kissing him. It probably was the best one, where the Doctor just kind of just tries to defend it and say, look, it should have been you. It would have been you, but she thought she was like, she nearly died, and I just happened to be there, and that's who she kissed. It just happens.
Yeah. The whole Doctor Rory relationship is really what carries this episode, I think. It's cool seeing that get established and stuff.
Yeah, I think having Arthur in this episode was a great idea. I thought he really helped with the episode. Especially since like a little later on, I think more season 6, like Rory kind of gets pushed to the side in a few episodes and is just kind of there for a bit of like exposition dialogue. But their scenes together was really good, and I like that a lot. And I get real human and mistakes happen, but again, it's like the Doctor trying to defend it. I didn't buy it, I guess. And again, I know we're all human and make mistakes. But still, it's like you instantly just feel so sorry for Rory. He really does get done dirty a lot during this era. He gets killed a lot. That's a big get done dirty. He gets killed a lot as well.
He's the sacrificial lamb.
Arthur is such great casting, just the extent where like he just is a bit of a simp, like he's just quite simpy, and I think like it's such good casting for that extent, like
totally.
I think it's just a great character. It's so hard not to like him and feel so sorry for him. Like
I know he's like kind of relatable in a way. I love the location work when they're going through like they're not catacombs, the dark tunnels.
Yeah, the underground tunnels type thing. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. Looked great.
Oh, I totally agree. They get to the top and then it's like, oh, we need a light. Rory gets out a lighter, and the Doctor pulls out a massive, like, LED light. Like I said, a penis joke, because Rory goes, yours is bigger than mine. He's like, let's not start that. What is going on, Aiden? What's these fucking dick jokes in Doctor Who now? Like,
I love them. I love my dick jokes.
I do love it, though. It is funny. They open up one of those, like, they open up one of the tombs, and they see the vampires. Pretty much saying that's what happens if they don't keep, like, feeding and all that shit.
That's quite confronting, wasn't it?
Yeah, the next scene as well is confronting like that, and the lighting was like really good. Where like Amy's
that green
to the side. Oh yeah, like very, very disturbing. And Amy's starting to get converted. I remember seeing that when I was young, and I was like, I know later on in the episode, like the Doctor kind of just like sonics her neck, and he's like, "Yep, you'll be fine. Just like chew on this, sweetie." I remember thinking the second she got like bitten in the episode, that was it. Amy's going to be a vampire for the rest of her entire run on Doctor Who.
Really?
I wasn't the smartest child ever. I'll admit it.
No.
Especially when it
some things don't change.
You're so horrible to me. I got to start being horrible to you on the podcast. But I'm a nice person, so I can't be mean to you. Aiden's ginger.
Oh man, that was such a what a shit. Like I didn't hear that through all high school. The Doctor in the mirror with the vampires, that's great. That's a great scene where he's like looking back and forth, and he's like, that's great.
Yeah, that's a bit later on, I think.
Is it? No, isn't that when he bumps into Amy? Just before he bumps into Amy?
No, they get Amy out, I actually can't remember how Amy gets out, to be fair. I watched this episode like last Monday, so...
I swear the Doctor, he's like looking in the mirror or something, and then he hears Amy scream because Amy's like running through the corridors, and he bumps into her. I don't know what happens to Rory. Why am I doing this segment? It's your job.
Am I thinking what I think I'm thinking?
Go on, bitch. Tell me.
That's what the Doctor says when he goes... I think Amy gets out somehow, but I can't remember how. I think Isabella gets her out, and then they run out the castle with everybody, and then Isabella gets taken away because she can't go out in the sunlight because the sun burns, and then they slam the door. They slam the door on the Doctor, and then he tries to get back in, and he gets electric shocked, which I thought was hilarious because
that is so funny.
Poor Matt Smith had to work with invisible like electric shocks, and he's like
Matt Smith literally had to work with a door.
Literally a plank of wood, and the Sonic doesn't work on wood, so it kind of backfired him. He got shot, and Isabella gets fed to the fish because it's like all these husbands in the river where they're pretty much getting ready to fuck Aiden.
They are getting ready to fuck. They're ready for a good time. I thought Isabella dying was very confronting because, like, she's quite a young character. She's sort of the one you expect to sort of, at the end she gets brought back to Guido or whatever, and, the family's edgy again. But the fact that she dies, like, halfway through, and then obviously R.I.P. Guido, or whatever his name is, when he dies shortly as well, you just don't expect it. So it's quite a surprisingly dark episode.
A lot of death. I'm sorry as well, but that scene you did talk about, I can't remember its place. I normally don't do this, and normally I don't forget, but I do love that scene. The Doctor goes down and he shows his library card, and it's William Hartnell. I thought that was really fun.
That's great. I
remember even like, I think it was even before 11th Hour came out. For some reason, they released that clip online, and it was one of my first scenes seeing. Jesus, that was a quite split message. Sorry, that just sent me. I just look at Aiden's Zoom and it keeps popping down. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get distracted.
Oh, a little messenger message.
It was through Instagram. Bless her, love the girl. What was I saying? The library card.
Connor's head's in different places. I was thinking about.
No, I'm not Moffat writing a penis joke. No, I was just saying, it was that was like one of my first ever scenes seeing Matt. I remember thinking he was great. There's one of the extras he plays a vampire looked very much like Emma Watson. I don't know if you got that vibe from one of them, but I remember all the comments were like, "Oh, Emma Watson's playing a vampire in this episode. Happy days!" So
yeah, boy.
The scene around the table I thought was hilarious, where like the mouse getting covered, and then the Doctor covers Rory's and then Amy's, and then like Amy covers like Gudio's mouth.
Yeah.
And they start hearing rustling upstairs and shit.
And like, one of them's like, do you hear footsteps upstairs? And then Guido's like, there is no upstairs. And the Doctor's like, I knew you were going to say that.
Did anyone else? There's like, from a quite shit episode in like a way, like there's so many like cool, funny lines and cool scenes.
Yeah. I think it's cool when they do start to come in. It's quite spooky.
Yeah, great. Like smashing the windows and shit, and like I thought that was awesome. And then they all run out, and then Guido's like, "That's it, bitch! I'm getting revenge for you killing my daughter," which I thought was totally justified. But it's soft because I dead set loved his character. I thought he was so funny. And then he imports like gunpowder and stuff, so he blows the whole house up. There's a great line, by the way. The first scene in the house before they go and send Amy off into the academy. The Doctor's like, "You got a load of gunpowder." Like, I'll be honest with you, I don't like guns, and I do like how the Doctor brings that up, despite the fact he uses a gun in Time of Angels, but it is to shoot the gravity globe, so it's not at a person or a creature. But I do like how the Doctor doesn't use guns thing got brought up again. So that was very groovy. We get a great scene now where like Amy and Roy run off and they're going to start to flood Venice, and we get the scene with like the mistress and the Doctor.
You're missing the iconic shot of the explosion when Matt runs and jumps. That was in all the trailers. That's so great. And the score's like, Oh, that's great. Murray's score is on fire this week. And it's like not just I Am the Doctor, which is nice.
Yeah, I did like a watch along with Dan last Monday night. I mean, I started watching it on Sunday. I was meant to do a watch along with Dan after we went to the pub, but he fell asleep when he got home, so I watched half of it. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of tired. I'll start it again tomorrow and watch it with Dan. So I watched this episode 1.5 times, technically. But yeah, like, I remember when that shot happened, me and Dan were just like, trailer shot. That was a classic. And it looks really good, to be fair. It does look really good.
Big boom.
It's iconic. It's some really good shots. They use a lot of wide angles, which I thought was really cool, just to show all the beautiful buildings and stuff, and like quite wide low shots as well, which I thought was sick.
That's one way you can tell when Doctor Who has a budget, because if they go wide, you can see all the lovely sets they've made, or the lovely locations they've travelled to. If they're tight, it means there's not much set outside of what you're looking at. And what set there is, they don't want you to be looking at.
Correctamundo. That's exactly right. So I'm glad so far the direction this season I've been very impressed with, despite it not being like a Graham Harper or like a Euroslin, which is like a well-known name for us. I think I'm definitely loving what I've been seeing from all these new directors and stuff. Also, I'm glad the BBC were given chances to directors that were kind of new as well. I think that was good of them as well. It would have been really easy to bring like Euros and Graham. Not saying they wanted to come back, but I think it's good as well. They gave other people a shot to try and like launch their careers and stuff.
Johnny Campbell, the director of this episode, he also comes back to direct Vincent and the Doctor, and those are the only 2 episodes he does. As for other things, you might have seen him direct Ashes to Ashes. I believe that's the Life of Mars spin-off. Is that correct?
Love it.
Yeah. A few other kind of notable things: a bit of Westworld in 2016, and Dracula 2020 by Stephen Moffat. He directed the episode The Rules of the Beast. I feel like that's the second one, the really good one. Is that right?
Love the second one. I believe so. I love how so he's doing just a load of vampire shit on the Moffat's belt.
Oh, true. Yeah, it's more vampires.
I wonder if that's things.
The Rules of the Beast. That's the first one. Still quite a good episode.
Still good. Still liked it.
So yeah.
Okay, snazzy. Yeah. I think it's like, especially in this scene. Yeah, here, with like the mistress and stuff. I think. First of all, I think it's insanely well written. I think it's great. I do like how Matt does sympathize with her, despite what she's doing. I like how he totally relates to the whole Gallifrey thing. And it's the first time Matt brings up Gallifrey. And I like, there's that line, it's like, you should be in a museum. And Matt they both carry it amazingly. And Matt's just, again, just the pure emotion on his face when he's bringing it up, where he's like, he is really hurt by it, but it's like, it's almost like when David was he wasn't over it. I feel like Matt, in this scene, you could feel he had a bit of content, if that makes sense. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? I like that. And he seemed it's like, I understand and I can get you your own well, but you can't keep doing this here. Oh, you can't stop us, Doctor. And that's kind of when it gets a bit silly.
I like
I'm not a fan of the next.
I like the references to the cracks and the silence. They're like, through the cracks we saw silence and the end of all things. At the time, you just think silence is just like, it's just quiet, and they do that at the end of the episode as well. But obviously,
audio just can't.
Little do we know, there's a little bit more to it than that, isn't there?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, it's cool. Like, especially after what happened in like Flesh and Stone and Time of Angels, all the stuff with the crack, and it's like, you're like, damn, this thing definitely is not over yet with the whole crack thing. And it's really cool as well that it's silence. It's a season 6 thing. Like, I know it gets mentioned, but the silence don't show up until Impossible Astronaut. So the whole the whole thing is like getting this up so early, which was awesome. Yeah, from some we saw silence. Like, I thought that was sick. The idea that the whole universe is scared of this whole thing, I think, is a great idea. This season, again, continues to really impress me.
Fire. Moffat's spitting fire.
No, it's not, Aiden. It's raining. They're going to flood.
It's raining. It's water. No. I was about to make that joke too.
Okay, it looks really bad. The shot where Matt Smith is like climbing up the building.
But that's when Murray starts spitting fire again. He's like,
fire with water. Nah, it's not. Look, I've seen far worse than Doctor Who. It just looks very funky, and then like especially when the Doctor's at the top, it's obviously just a prop, and there's like a really bad green screen in the background, and they're just something about. It's so obvious sometimes when it's not rain in TV shows and movies, and this was definitely obvious. It's just Matt in like a soundstage, and they're pouring water over him with a green screen behind him, and he's like Sonic in it. But he stops it, obviously. And I do like as well how Rory's like, well, we know Venice doesn't get flooded because obviously it's there now, and like they're like, well, no, because future can get changed, and it's like, can it? I guess so.
We also have Rory standing up for Amy and trying to fight the young boy that you fancy as well. That's really
SpongeBob.
funny. Yeah,
as a huge SpongeBob fan, I love that.
They do the cross. He does the cross.
I love that. He gets the broom, and it's like does the classic. Yeah, the way he stops him killing Amy is a your mum joke. Yeah. This is so 2010, and I love it.
What is it? He says time. Like, the only thing dirty about you is your mum, or something.
Yeah, I think it's like the only thing that smells worse than you is your mum. And it's like, what did you say about mummy?
What did you say about mummy?
Funny, like just your mum jokes, SpongeBob.
It's just Moffat, I think.
He says Rory smells like cheese and biscuits, which I thought was hilarious. So many funny scenes like that, which saved this episode for me. Like, all in all, it's not much to really like. There's not much meat on the bones, but there's so many just fun, groovy scenes that just make me laugh.
It just as well, like considering it's just a normal episode, it feels like kind of epic in a way. Like it's got a bit of scope to it. And even though maybe it wraps up a little quick and the CG is a bit in the final act, Connor just dribbled water all down himself. That was lovely to watch. I can't even
drink water these days.
Yeah, but it definitely has like an element of scope and scale to it, which is really exciting for a mid-season episode.
Yeah, the whole like shooting in Venice thing really helped, and one of the things that really I just thought was like, I get they have to show them, but I didn't like the whole like thing on their like belts where like if they kick them like they become those massive CGI fish, and it just looks absolutely pants.
This looks horrendous. The CGI fish
really
looks so bad.
Obviously, they spent most of the budget probably just flying to locations, so probably they didn't really have much left over. Again, I hate to shit on CGI because I know I can't even imagine how difficult it would have been, but they really did. I'm glad I didn't show it a lot. I think it's shown maybe like 3 times. But that just causes old mate to explode, and then the mistress is like about to just jump in the water and kill herself. Doctor tries to stop her, but she does it anyway. It's like, if we can't have this world, then that's it. I failed, and she would rather die than being like enslaved and taken off.
It also feels like a bit of a fuck you to the Doctor. Like she's trying to sort of be like, look what you made me do, bitch. You killed a species.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, if we can't have this world, we're not going anywhere else. That's it. I'm out. And for those reasons, I'm out. And I thought it was an emotional ending and it's like the Doctor can't always convince species that they're not always on the same level as him. And I thought that was a good change of pace. And and then it's like, and then for me, the final thing to really talk about is I do like how they're walking back to the TARDIS, and it's like, Amy's like, Rory, you should stay, and I think that's great. Oh god, I was about to say then it reminds me of season 2 when Mickey comes along. It's probably not a great thing to say anymore, but it did remind me of that because that obviously happened. It reminded me of that when like it's like a mid-season and another character comes along. I'm glad Amy and the Doctor had some episodes to themselves. And obviously, Rory does leave in Hungry Earth and come back for the final. But I think he's very well placed in this season about being in it and not.
I agree. Like, he's in the premiere, has a few episodes off, comes on for a few, disappears for a few, comes back for a few, and then he's back in full swing for the rest of his run.
Yeah, I think it's great to just give Amy and the Doctor some time to breathe. But the stuff that he has a lot to do. He has a lot of emotion to have as well. I wasn't a huge fan of the Rory, do you hear that? And it just goes quiet. I wasn't a huge fan of that. And it's like nothing. It's just silence. It's like it was very on the nose. And it goes to the TARDIS keyhole for some reason.
That's weird. That's fucking weird.
And it replays the clip from the episode. It's like in some cracks we saw silence, and it was like, who is this? Like, this is a bit odd. And that's a wrap. And then then it's the trailer for Amy's Choice, which looked fucking awesome. I know Aiden doesn't
wasn't
get the
for
trailers,
me,
but
that's so bullshit that I don't. So for mine, when it went into the keyhole, it went straight into the credits, and it looks kind of weird because it's just going into the time vortex as you go through the keyhole.
It's a bit odd, isn't it? It was it never happened again. I was like, is this going to happen a few times? It never happened again. I don't know. It's so weird. Director's choice. It's like, okay, we'll zoom into the keyhole. It'll look really cool. Everyone's going to love it.
Yeah.
It's like, weird.
Just on what you were saying about Rory and Arthur, I think Arthur has so much more to work with in this episode than in the premiere. The premiere, I think maybe Rory's not, like, he's not weak in it by any means. I think his character's just, he's not given much to do, and that's fine because it's about establishing Amy and the Doctor's relationship, but he's like very sidelined, and he just kind of gets like kind of shat on. Well, not shat on, but like pissed around a bit, you know?
Yeah, he's kind of like the bumbling sidekick. Whereas this one, he gets
stuff to do. There you go.
Like kind of like the bumbling sidekick and stuff, and it's like, he's so stupid and dumb. He's not catching up. He's like not keeping up with Amy and Rory. He's just like, he's like, oh, what's going on here? Like, yeah, I get what you mean. So yeah, I'm glad he got a lot to do this episode. I'm really glad, actually. I mean, I love his character. So, yeah. Fair
totally.
Enough. I like it.
Shall we move on to Australia's...
It was fun. Yeah.
Never mind. How good's the internet today? It's a bit laggy. So if it ever sounds like I'm cutting Connor off, that's why. Connor's got his harmonica in his mouth, ready to go. Let's move on to Australia's favourite segment. It's time for Goof of the Week!
Hey-oh!
I barely even heard it.
Really? Was it that bad? Internet that bad?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. It was just a little bit quiet.
At the
Any goose
Saturday,
this
we were
week,
talking
Connor?
about how good our internet's been recently on the show, and now we've jinxed it. We literally were like, it's so good these days. Remember the old days when it used to get all like like laggy and shit? Now we've just jinxed it. No, I don't actually. Sorry.
Neither do I, but our good old friend TARDIS Wiki has two. Only two. Not much happened in this one. This one's quite funny. When the Doctor is climbing the bell tower through one arch, the clear sky can clearly be seen. So it's got like rain all around it and all through all the arches, but one of the arches for some reason just has like clear sky. And this happens a couple of times in a couple of different shots.
Fair enough. I like that. That's a classic goof, to be fair. That's a good goof. Some of these are shit. That was a good one.
Well, that's the only main one. The second one's kind of shit in like, how the fuck, like, it doesn't even matter.
But we had to
at the end of the credits. At the end of the credits, the BBC Worldwide website URL was not shown at the end. Usually when it has like the logo come up, it has the URL underneath it. But for some reason, I don't know how the fuck this shit happens. Surely it would just be a template that they would put on at the end of each episode.
Yeah, surely it's just a template. You just do boink boink. I don't know. That's probably one of those things they added in on the DVD, and like they're like, oh well, that's where
I don't think so.
Broadcasting thing. Oh really?
I think it was just like that. It's so weird.
Fair enough. Just type in Doctor Who on any search engine. I'm sure you'll find the official website. You don't really need the URL. I'm sure people will find their way. God's sake.
And it's only this episode that it's like that on, so it's so weird.
Poor Vampires in Venice not getting the love it needs.
Yeah, how are people ever going to find the rest of the show from here? Shall we move on to Australia's second favourite segment?
Let's do it, baby.
It's time for Behind the Scenes. That was beautiful. That was really beautiful.
Thank you. Honest.
So, this episode, if you didn't notice, I think it was 49 minutes. It was about 5 minutes longer than the usual episode. So, that's a little interesting.
Whoa.
For just like a normal episode, it's just interesting that they gave it almost a 50-minute runtime, you know?
I like it nearly 60 minutes. Makes it feel quite epic.
And maybe that's why it did feel a bit more epic, yeah. So I could have corrected you on this the first time you said it, but you said it a few more times, and I enjoyed you sounding like a dickhead. So this wasn't filmed in Italy; it was filmed in Croatia.
Oh fuck! Well, that's great. So thank you.
This was the first Doctor Who story to be filmed in a form. I wrote this wrong. This was the first Doctor Who story to be filmed in a formerly communist country.
Aha. That's good.
Mm-hmm. That's just an interesting fact. Just
some pure
something for the notebook.
At the 50% Doctor Who podcast.
So, this was the first ever and only ever Doctor Who episode to have the final scene merge in with the credits on the Next Time trailer.
Oh, that we literally just said that, hey.
Yeah. The goat lady from the start of the episode. I was just a random pedestrian. I just was just walking past with a goat, and they were like, "Can we film you?"
No way.
Yeah.
No shit.
Like
that's hilarious.
In her gear and everything. Yeah. Wow.
No shit. That's so funny. No way. This is some nomad shit. They're actually filming
literally.
People.
So last little bit. It's not really behind the scenes. It's just more of like interesting trivia in a way. And considering this is Toby Whithouse's second episode, it has so much in common with his first episode, School Reunion. So let's break it down, shall we? So the pre-title sequence involves a scene of a young girl being attacked by an alien and is followed by a scene in which the Doctor appears during a common activity and says something rather ordinary. So, like when he walks into the school reunion.
Obviously, comfortably.
Yeah. The companion's boyfriend joins in for the adventure and becomes part of the TARDIS crew for the following episodes.
True.
Both episodes feature scenes where two of the main characters discuss the Doctor's effect on relationships.
Yes.
The alien species in both episodes can transform into humans.
Shit, this is so similar.
The leader of the alien race in both episodes proposes an alliance with the Doctor.
Yeah.
A minor character disposes of most of the aliens by causing an explosion.
Oh my god, this is so true.
The alien's plan is thwarted by a simple flick of a switch.
Oh my god.
And both groups of aliens exhibited traits of vampire mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Because they both kind of look like vampires.
I never once thought this feels like a retread or something.
Yeah, I think... Because Toby was wanting to do a story like... I think he was meant to write the God Complex or something similar to that. But because it was quite similar to some other episodes in the series or something, they wanted something fresh. And Moffat was like, I want you to do something big, crazy. I feel like Toby was like, fuck. I'll get School Reunion and I'll just disguise it. Just put it in camouflage. Yeah. All right, if Rory joins for this one, Stephen's like, yep, no worries.
Yeah, dirt, just take him.
Take Mickey's lines.
I definitely think that Town Called Mercy and God Complex for me are definitely my favorites of his. I have to obviously rewatch them again to figure out which one's my favorite, but from memory, like God Complex for me is such a cool, unique episode. I think it's awesome, and I think Town Called Mercy is really great as well. I've always really loved those episodes.
So have I. I've always found them quite... Town Called Mercy, I don't know. I just like have a weird nostalgia for it, and I've just always kind of liked it. It feels very cinematic. Again, because I think all the location shooting is great.
Oh, yeah.
God Complex is whack. It's, Under the Lake and Before the Flood, I think, is quite cool. Under the Lake, I think, is really good. Before the Flood, I never really have been massively fond of.
With you on that one, yeah.
It's just a shame that he goes out on The Lie of the Land, which is just such a flat episode.
It didn't feel like something he would write. So
although that isn't his final part of the Doctor Who universe, is it, Connor?
It's not. I thought it was.
No, because he plays the soldier.
Oh yeah,
at the end of Twice Upon a Time. So if you guys don't know, Toby Whitehouse. He also acts as the soldier in Twice Upon a Time that Mark Gatiss is about to get shot by. Mark Gatiss is about to get shot by in the pit or whatever, in the grenade boulder. What's it called? Why can't I think of it? Begins with a B. Bunker? No, it's not a bunker.
Like a trench almost, or a bunker.
It's like a grenade's gone off, and they're in the grenade hole. I can't think of what it's called for some reason.
Yeah.
But so there you go. That's cool. But he only speaks German in it. But he's good.
You were pretty good on that. I mean, before he even was on like in the credits or like casted it as like officially, you were like, I remember when you sent the trailer into like the group chat, and you were like, I'm pretty sure it's Toby Whithouse, and I was like, yeah, bullshit. And then I checked and then when I watched it, sorry, I'm chewing gum. Which is an awful idea when you're talking to a mic. When I watched it on Boxing Day, which is when we got the episode, it literally said in the credits, and I was like, fuck, Aiden was so right. Like, it is him. Bloody hell.
Happy so we move on to Australia's third favourite segment.
Yeah, boy.
Time for Just Twitter Things. So, I said, we want to know your thoughts on the Vampires of Venice. Write them below and we'll read them on the show. Daniel Lade says, Space Fish Lady Thick.
God's sake.
And then the drool emoji.
Did I expect anything?
Space Thick Lady.
I obviously, I did not expect anything more or less from our friend.
You know, I saw him like the post. And like I was on my phone and it came up at the same time and it was like, oh, Daniel A's like the post. And I was like, all right, I'll wait for him to reply in 2 minutes with some shit meme. And then 2 minutes later, it came up.
Lo and behold, there it is.
The better Dan Peters, says, I really like this one. It's a lot of fun. The TARDIS team is one of my favourites and Rory is a great addition. The location looks great. It's cool when the show goes abroad. Helen McCrory's performance and chemistry with Matt is a real standout. I love the scene where Rory questions the Doctor and we see a different side of him. Plus, hot fish girls. 8 out of 10. I agree.
Bruh.
I replied with, we do love hot fish girls here at the 50% show. There we go. Vinny says, hang on. I love it. I can't lie. Helen McCrory in any role smashes it. And this is no exception. I like the story, and I like the interactions she has as a villain with the Doc. One of my favourite scenes in Series 5, and then the preach emoji. So, yeah, that is a great scene. Totally agree. Connor and I said it before. It's just the classic, like, Doctor and then the antagonist of the episode face-off. The Doctor and the villain face-off. But it's just executed so well, and both of them perform really well. So it's really great.
I'm totally with you on that one.
Dylan says, I really like this story. Might be the funniest episode of New Who? ? I'm not quite sure though. You kissed her back? No, I kissed her lips. Helen McCrory is great as the main villain. It's proper cheesy, but I think that worked for the episode. I agree. It kind of dwindles near the end, but overall I really enjoyed it. 7 out of 10. Yeah, I totally agree, Dylan. It's I think the last act it suffers a little bit, but Dylan also then goes on to say, I just remembered that Rory says something along the lines of, the only thing that smells worse than you is your mum. And that's peak comedy right there. Damn right.
It is. That's some 2010 shit. I love it.
The Doctor Who show, that's another podcast, has commented, and this is the first time commenting on our show. So thank you, the Doctor Who show. They say, could have been an all-time great story if they'd had the balls to go all-out vampire with it. Which I agree with. It's when they go all space fishy alien, it's a bit bullshit, isn't it? Doctor Who always does it. Would have been like a modern Hammer horror film. Instead, it's all, let's subvert expectations and make them fish people. For fuck's sake. Shows how fine the line between great and stupid is. And then someone called the Comic Pseudonym replied to that saying, yes, also, if they're not fish, you don't have any reason to set it in Venice, which never seemed relevant. Vampires being unable to cross running water. The Doctor Who show replied to that saying, well, Venice is a setting I quite enjoy, as it's one of those classic Grand Tour type places, which I agree with as well, but that could have become part of the plot. Even with regards to vampires and running water, I think a lot of the potential was missed with the story. I really do. It could have even had some tie-in to the Time Lords battle with the great vampires. I believe that's in reference to an episode. Oh, what's it called? Oh, it's in season 18 and there's vampires. Something something about vampires.
Vampires
it's like one of the only serials I liked in season 18. But yeah, apparently the Time Lords fought vampires one day. They could have been some sort of offshoot of that. The Doctor could have been totally crazed and need to end them. Such is the enmity between them and the Time Lords. Instead, nah, fish. Hey, I don't think the Doctor Who show liked this very much.
No, I don't think they did.
Yeah, and we went on to talk about it a little bit more. So if you want to read that, then go for it. But Doctor Who show. They felt maybe it was a basic bitch of an episode by the sounds of it.
Sounds
which to an extent I agree with, but I'm also relatively happy with what we got.
Yeah, I agree. It's basic with a lot of fun moments and great scenes and direction, acting, score. Like, you know, I think it has a lot to offer as well as not being that great. Is that you done?
That's me done. What do you got for me today, Connor?
Okay, for some reason Dylan also messaged me, just said one of my favourites season 5, so much fun. That's all he put, and I got 2 more. My boys always hit me up. You know, it's a bit lonely here on Instagram. You know, a bit of a tumbleweed going on here. So if you want to give me some love, alright, I'll read Jacob's first. Our good old friend Jacob Hind. I hope you can't hear my mum talking to my dad outside my room. Anyway, such a good concept with vampires in Italy, and it's just wasted by them being fish aliens. It's nice to see Rory become a companion, but other than that, a really disappointing episode. 5 out of 10. When this episode aired, a theory was born that Rory was secretly the master due to the line, I'm getting a sort of banging in my head, which most of people thought was the drums and the master hears. So my question is, what's the dumbest Doctor Who theory or piece of speculation you believe? I believed. I always thought like the Rani would always come back and Omega. Like, as much as I'm not a fan of classic, I always studied their characters as a kid, and I always thought they were coming back. That's probably what I believed the most.
Yeah, I like that. I think this is a few weeks in a row that Richard's given us a question, and it's quite fun. I enjoy it. Jacob, sorry, I meant Jacob. Not we know someone else called Richard Hind or something similar.
Oh, yeah,
that's why I said on
Saturday.
Yeah, that's why I said Richard. But Jacob, I think that's a couple of times he's given us that a question. It's quite fun.
Bless him.
There is some bizarre ones out there. Silly ones, like I remember when Series 12 were being shot and everyone was saying like, "There's a crisis on set. Jodie Whittaker stormed off set and she doesn't want to do it anymore."
Yeah.
And so is Chris Chibnall. Pete McTighe is taking over as showrunner for the remainder of Series 12. That was a bullshit one. I can't really remember any other ones other than, and this was like a legit one, and I kind of wish it was true. The funniest thing about it is how invested in this theory was, and I fucking was certain it was true, was that Omega was coming back. And that was when, so the clerics, you saw them in Series 5, Episode 4 and 5, the last story we reviewed, and they come back and Good Man Goes to War. Their patch on the side of their arm is an Omega symbol, and it's got 2 lines going through it, so it looks like Omega 2.
Yeah.
So I was Omega's back. Could it be? And then with all the whole thing of like the end of the universe, the cracked space time, that just sounds like a very Omega-y plot. And I think there was a few other things that hinted at it as well. But nothing came out of it. I watched The Three Doctors yesterday though, because that's possibly my favorite classic serial. It's just so much fun, and I love Omega. He's so camp in the way he speaks, but I love him. He looks great.
Yeah, there's so many funny things. It's just there just is like I feel like there's like the Doctor Who, just people just like they love to just instantly assume when they hear or see something on Twitter that's absolutely true and just facts, when obviously in real life that is not how it works. So you know, check your source next time. I know
if people are interested in this, I know Crispy Pro made a quite a funny video a few weeks back where he was discussing all the rumors that never came true. So that's quite funny.
Oh yeah, I was featured on a Crispy Pro video. My tweet was
incredible.
I got sent it by, well, a fan told me, and then you told me. So I hadn't watched it yet, and I don't remember sending the tweet. I think I was down the pub or something, and I just put Toby Whithouse for the new who would you like to take over from Doctor Who. So, which is funny because this episode was written by him. And yeah, Aiden told me, man. Someone else told me about it. So thanks for that. And then the last review I got here is from Shane. Love Shane on Instagram, by the way. He's always there to help me out.
Love you, Shane.
Review for Vampires. Matt's performance keeps getting better as the season goes on. The consuming of this episode is very nice to see. I don't know what that word means, sorry. Amy trying to shag the Doctor the night before her wedding doesn't sit right with me, poor Rory. But yours is bigger than mine. Nope. Torturing is great, never gets old. I totally agree with that. It's still a better vampire story than Twilight. So I didn't know your word. Costuming. The costume of this episode is very nice to see. I don't know, maybe it was
like the probably. Costumes they're wearing?
I assume that's what he was going for. And yeah,
well, that's what we're going to take it.
Yeah, thank you for that though. It's always lovely hearing from you people. We love to hear from you and all the support we get. Really appreciate it, so thank you. And yeah, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at 50Doctor. It's the same handle for both of those, so you can talk to us anytime. My DMs are always open on Instagram. I pretty much reply to everybody who messages me. If you want to come have a little chat, just say hi. I try and reply to everybody. By the way, I'm not trying to offend people. When they send reviews through, I just double tap love heart it and send an emoji. And it's not that I don't want to chat. It's because I don't like to even try and glimpse at them before I read them on the show. So if you think I'm being rude, I'm not trying to be. I'm really grateful for everyone sending stuff in. But yeah, if you do want to have a little chat, just hit me up.
Just to chime in on Shane's review there then. I agree. Like I know we said that the location shoots were great, but just the overall production design, whilst maybe a little empty in parts, what we did get does look great. Like it looks awesome.
I agree, and I'm glad he agrees as well. The whole Amy thing just didn't really land for us as well. I think I'm glad people saw that as well.
So
if we're done, do you quickly want to mention your big finish thing, which I keep hearing you talk about on the podcast but not mentioning it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we got a bit of time.
Let's a little bit of time this week. So
finishing big.
And finishing first.
No. All right, so just to quickly talk about a little bit of Big Finish. So, I think since we last spoke, I've been through almost 2 box sets. The first one was the War Master. Ha 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 ha. 4 episodes of Jacob Derrickby?
My relative. My dad's
Connor's
third
brother.
Cousin or some shit.
Connor's long lost cousin. Derek Jacobi.
Well, my dad's, but yeah.
He's so good as the Master. It's fucking unreal. Like, I want more. People are always like, oh, we should get an 8th Doctor story, an 8th Doctor series. And then I do understand maybe the argument being like, oh, maybe it's not a great look for the BBC to have 2, like, Doctor Who, like, actual Doctor shows running. You know what I mean? Like, because the general audience will be like, oh, who's the new Doctor? Paul McGann? Like, especially considering he's not, like, he's probably, like, the least known, I want to say, just because all he did was the movie.
I get you.
So I get that. Maybe a great workaround would be to have it be a War Master series starring Derek Jacobi, and the Doctor is in like that with as Paul McGann as the Doctor is in a few episodes. That would be great. Anyways, first couple of episodes of the box set, really good. Third one was also good, maybe a little bit slow. 4th episode, pretty dog shit. Didn't really like how it ended.
Right.
But the one consistent thing is Derek is just dope and amazing. Like he is so good.
So this proves that Big Finish isn't canon. Doesn't really matter what happens in any Doctor Who story of his character, because like he gets to watch, and then he dies and regenerates into John Sims. So how could you? I'm filming here. Cool. Night.
The classic appearance of Connor's family.
Night.
Well, Connor.
I'm talking about Big Finish, Dad. Thank you. Cheers.
So
how does that connect? Because
this is set before.
Okay, but then does he know he's the Master before, and then he Oh, does that tie into the storyline? Or is that a spoiler to say if it ties in with the fob watch?
It doesn't tie in, but it makes sense. It's like David. Like David was the 10th Doctor, and then he made himself John Smith, and then he went back to being the 10th Doctor. That's what happened.
Okay.
So the War Master.
See one day why he does it.
Maybe. But I mean, it kind of makes sense, to be honest, though, that he was just running away from the Time Lords. Because Derek Jacobi, he's known as the War Master. And so he's the master. You know how there's the War Doctor through the Time War? It's Derek Jacobi's the War Master throughout all the Time War.
That's awesome.
So
that's really cool.
So it makes sense that maybe at the end of the Time War, when everything got fucked, he was like, I'm just going to tap out, go to the end of the universe, and just forget who I am.
That's pretty
kind of makes sense there. Yeah.
I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, so it is great and definitely worth a listen because Derek, he carries it. Just the last episode, a bit disappointing.
This next one
second thing
I've heard so much about, so...
Oh, dude, it's so good. I've only listened to the first two. And out of the two, the first one was definitely by far the best episode. But Dalek Universe 1. Oh, man. David, I'm so glad they've not just done another David Tennant series where he's just it's just another David Tennant Volume 4. I'm so glad this is it's a story and David's just the Doctor they've got to do the story, and it's so fucking good. The guest cast is so great. Mark Geddes is a villain in it,
right?
And it's just really good. The sound design's dope. First episode was really incredible. Second one was really good, but I think, to be honest, it was more I was listening to it whilst I was driving from place to place at work, and I was having to drive where I hadn't driven before, so I was looking at my maps the whole time, and so I think maybe I wasn't as actively listening,
as engaged.
In the second part.
Did you say it's set in the specials timeline?
It is, yeah.
How do you know?
So
because he's just not with a companion, or?
Oh, because they do the most obvious shitty voiceover at the start, where the Doctor's like, "I've lost many people, Rose, Donna." It's like they just needed to tell everyone where he was.
I wonder what timeline this is saying.
It's probably how it's written as well, but David's performance, he's cocky the whole way through it, like how he is sort of around just before Waters of Mars and end of Waters of Mars. So it's really good.
Sensational. Yeah, I need to kind of get on them. Oh well, I think Eccleston's drops next Thursday, so that'll be interesting.
I think it's out in 3 days.
Oh, maybe it's this Thursday. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should probably go on that shit maybe in a couple of weeks to talk about it, because it'll probably take us a while to get through them. But
yeah.
Doesn't just one drop, or is it all four? I think just one drops. So
it's the first volume, and it's got 3 episodes in, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So maybe if we get it and talk about it in a week or so, and just share our first thoughts on. I'll get it. I hate the idea of it, but I want to hear more of Eccleston, so I'll do it. I'll do it. Fucking fine.
Yeah. Fucking fine. Fucking fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's nice to have a bit of a short episode as well.
What do you want to rate?
7.5. I said it.
7.5.
I really thought it was fun.
Really?
Yeah, it's just so fun, and it's not great, and there's not a lot of meat on the bones. But boy howdy, was I just laughing and having a little fun.
It is a lot of fun.
What a fun season.
Yeah, like you said, not a lot of meat on the bones. There's some dodgy VFX here and there. And the last act definitely dwindles a bit. From me, I'm gonna give it I've got my score here, and I'm kind of conflicted with it. I want to give it a 7, but I'm gonna give it a 6.75.
Oh, what? I thought you were going to go higher, but you went lower. I was like, he's going to match with me. No,
7 for me is 7's when it's good, I'm like, oh, this is good shit. This was I was like, oh, that's a good moment. Oh, that wasn't great. No, that was a good moment. That wasn't great. It was a pretty inconsistent episode, I think.
Fair enough. But it happens. You get a few duds.
It does happen.
Happens.
Crazy. Madness. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this bonus episode, guys. We'll be back to our regular schedule on Monday.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually gonna because I don't have time to watch it on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we're filming on Thursday, so I'm going to watch Amy's Choice now. So I'm excited to watch that.
Lovely.
I've been putting it off because it's always one of my favorite episodes. So now I'm gonna enjoy it. Sit down with my dinner and enjoy it whilst drinking a water. Aiden.
Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, it's been nice to go back into the Doctor Who experience mug. That was sort of when I was doing teas for the first season because we started in winter. Now we're going back into winter because we're almost at a year of this show.
Nice.
So it was nice to bring out the Doctor Who experience mug and have a tea.
I'm eating cake on the 1 year. Happy birthday to you. Hell yeah.
We'll do candles. We'll have a celebration.
Very cute.
Lovely. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 50Doctor and watch Seaspiracy. Seriously, that's important. Do it.
All right.
It's good.
I will,
good
Aiden,
shit.
for you.
Yeah, I was talking more to the audience, but also to you. You should as well. It's very good.
Thank you. Level.
Very good.
Right.
It's on Netflix. Let's lead me. No, you lead me out in song, Connor. Let's go, son.
All right, ready? And 1 and 2 and a skidly diddly do. It's Aiden and Connor's podcast. They're doing Doctor Who reviews.